Welcome to another episode of Challenging Approaches. Today's approach is into probably one of the most challenging approaches for aircraft of this size. Today we're heading into the Himalayas, into the small country of Bhutan. This approach has many challenges. The airport is situated at 7,000 feet, which greatly increases the ground speed of the landing aircraft while decreasing aircraft performance. Surrounding the airport are 13,000 foot peaks, with hilly terrain obscuring a straight-in approach from either end. The runway also has no PAPI, VASI, ILS or lights and is relatively short and narrow for its elevation. For this reason, the airport is only operable during visual meteorological conditions. Due to the hazard of severe turbulence entering the valley, flights are typically avoided in the afternoon. Without further ado, let's jump into the flight deck. A warm welcome aboard the flight deck of this Airbus A320 as we make our approach into Paro. So today's approach will be via the RNAV Yankee cloud break procedure, and that'll provide us with precision guidance into the valley down to our final approach fix at Papa Romeo 712, where we'll have to be in visual conditions and we'll hand fly the rest of the approach. And that'll give us a minimums of 10,740, which is absolutely insane, especially from what I'm used to. After the approach fix, we'll visually overfly the airport, entering the main valley, and conduct a descending circling into runway 15. By our final approach fix, we'll need to be fully configured into landing, and that'll allow us to meet the 145 knot speed restriction. So I'm going to quickly go through the approach checklist before we hit our first approach fix. So landing lights, we'll turn them on now, even though we're above 10,000. We will be starting approach soon, so it'll be best to turn that on first. May as well arm the ground spoilers as well. We'll go ahead and bring back the speed to the first speed restriction of 185, which we can see there. And reset the MCP altitude to around 11,000. As we decelerate rather, I'm going to bring out flaps 1. We're passing the first approach fix. Romeo 888, and starting the descent now into the valley. So I do have the terrain enabled right now. However, as we get further into the valley, I'm going to disengage the GPWS system specifically to the terrain so we don't get all the warnings as we make the approach, which will happen if we were to leave that on. Of course, needing visual conditions to do that. And again, we can be within the clouds up until that final approach fix, or a minimums of 10,720. I'm going to go ahead and actually activate the approach phase. Because by Papa Romeo 712, we'll need to be at a speed of 145 knots, which means we'll look to be fully configured by that, and we'll be overflying the airport in a fully configured setup. We'll go ahead and put the auto brake to medium, and speed brakes checked. Again, you can imagine just the kind of mountains that are around us right now. And that's why we have some of this additional guidance into the approach. So we're looking at a landing speed of 138 with our full flap configuration. Still can't see anything in the valley yet. Again, we'll need to be visual by our minimums of 10,740 feet. Again, the speed restriction there will be 145 knots, so we need to be fully configured by the time we pass Papa Romeo 712. Breaking through some of the clouds, starting to see the valley, which is promising, but we are fairly close to our minimums right now. So I'll need a little bit more than this to continue the approach, in my humble opinion, at least. Right, I'm going to go ahead and drop the gear and go flaps 2. Alright, going to go flaps 3. Again, we need to be about 145 knots by Papa Romeo 712 and flaps 4. Right, so we're past our final approach fix, so it's changed into vertical speed node. Go ahead and... Actually, I'm going to go ahead and disengage the autopilot fly visually now, because I've got enough vertical guidance to continue. So the airport should be off to our left, just behind this mountain here. Level of 11,000 at the moment.
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
At this stage, we're going to go
terrain ahead.
Disengage
pull up.
GPWS warnings for terrain.
2,500.
Checked. So the airport should just be behind this hill.
100 above.
So we're 100 above our minimums. There's the airport over here, so we're going to overfly it first and then do that circling turn. Following the turn now. See why we've disengaged the GPWS system at the moment. As we head straight towards the side of this mountain, we're going to do a right hand turn. Right about now. This is one of the dangerous parts of the approach. Watching our descent rate, speed, attitude,
1,000.
and the mountain on the other side of the valley, that we're not going to impact that. But we are continuing to make that turn. Looking to roll out just on the other side of this river. There we go.
1,000.
Wanting to be about 8,000 feet before we do that final turn towards the runway. start seeing the airport very soon off to our right. There it is.
500.
Start that turn. Looking good. Start that left-hand turn.
One hundred. 50, 40, 30, 20. Retard.
Touchdown.
5.
Bang. There we go. Just in the touchdown zone. Versus. Knots, idle reverse, and you're braking. Welcome to Paro. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you like episodes like this, consider subscribing to see future airports in this series. If you have any further suggestions for the episodes or for future airports, feel free to leave a comment below.